The Batman Arkham franchise are some of my favourite games of all time, and they revolutionized superhero licensed video games. If it wasn't for the masterful Batman Arkham series, then you wouldn't have the Insomniac Spider-Man games and the other superhero games that are being developed. And the studio heads and some of the developers behind those revolutionary Arkham games have left Rocksteady and formed their own indie studio called 100 Star Games. And the heads we have at Rocksteady now are a bunch of untalented hacks who have inherited and taken over the Arkham universe, and at the order of Warner Brothers have made a Suicide Squad game called Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. A generic live service crapfest that looks like a DC skin on top of Fortnite and Apex Legends. But surprisingly, that's not the worst thing about this game. Everyone right now is in an uproar and is upset, and rightfully so, about the story decisions that these new heads have chosen to take. That being, the deaths of DC's most popular superheroes. And not that they're being killed off, but more so how they are being killed off so dismissively and insultingly. Now let's talk about the death that hurt fans the most, and at the time of recording has gotten over 20 million views on Twitter. The death of Batman. Now this is not some Elseworlds game, this takes place in the Arkham universe. So this is supposed to be the same Batman from Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, and Arkham Knight. And this is how he gets killed off.
Are we done with your bad stand-up routine?
Almost. But you always gotta end on your best joke. Time for us bad guys to save the world.
Of all the villains he has survived, even being locked up with them in Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. And this is how they take him out? One of the strongest, best, and most iconic versions of Batman ever, the new creatives at Rocksteady decided to unceremoniously just shoot him in the head on a bench and have him die in a pool of his own blood. This immediately reminded me of the disrespectful way that they killed off Joel in The Last of Us Part 2. I don't have a problem with these characters dying, but it's the way they died which is just so insulting and poorly written. And that's where I take issue with this. The whole setup, the whole presentation of how they kill him off is just downright disrespectful. The way King Shark is holding him over his shoulder, how he sits on a bench like a kid being given a timeout and being told off by the teacher, the way Harley is being so sarcastic and nonchalant and not taking in the fact that they finally captured Batman. Of all the things she and the rest of the villains could say in this moment, instead Harley just says some weightless bits of dialogue and then shoots him. And that's it. That's the end of Arkham Batman. This hurts to watch. It's actually depressing, because there was no reverence or care put into his death, and on top of that, it had no impact, not on me, and not on the villains, and the Batman fan in me just feels hurt. And the objective reviewer in me just has my senses blown with the sheer amount of problems that are in this whole execution. How dare these talentless hacks of writers behind this game treat the Arkham Batman with the same disrespect we saw to Joel. And what really makes this hurt so much more is that this is Kevin Conroy's final performance as Batman. Now some defenders out there will say, well, it's not Rocksteady's fault, how were they supposed to know that Kevin Conroy was going to pass away? Well, that doesn't matter. Even if Kevin Conroy was still alive, this is still not how you give Batman a send-off. This would still be an insult to his legacy in the Arkham games and all who worked on them. Now some people will say that I'm spoiling this, and at this moment, I don't care, because this death just convinced me that there is a big problem going on in not just Hollywood, but the entertainment industry in general. Studios in the movie industry and now the gaming industry seem to have no idea how to kill off iconic and beloved characters anymore. Han Solo in The Force Awakens, Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, John Connor in Terminator Dark Fate, Dewey in Scream 5, Joel from The Last of Us Part 2, Indy in the original version of Indiana Jones 5 before the reshoots, The Flash, Green Lantern, Superman, and Batman in this. All of these iconic male characters are being taken out like chumps and like they're nobodies. The writing is just terrible, and you get dumb idiots out there who accuse people who criticize the lazy writing as haters or trolls. The best examples of popular character deaths done right is Logan and Iron Man. People loved these characters and felt like they were killed off in a respectful, emotional, and even beautiful way. But the rest, they just kill the characters off in the most insulting, disposable, and least satisfying way possible. Their deaths have no impact, and for characters this big to die, there needs to be thought and reverence put into their deaths. And aside from Wonder Woman, none of these characters are killed off in a dignified way. And make of this what you will, but the thing that all of these characters have in common is that they are all men. I mean, what are the chances that the female hero gets a slow and dignified death scene, but the rest don't? I mean, she gets a much better and more dignified death scene than Batman. You know, in the grand scheme of things, this wouldn't be as upsetting if this game was just set in an alternate universe. But it's not. It's set in the Arkhamverse, a universe that people spent 15 years of investment in. And if, like me, you were wondering what the Justice League would look like in this Arkham universe, well, you got your answer. And now, they're all dead. So we can never have games of the Arkham versions of the Justice League in the future. And the one character that we did play in the Arkhamverse, and spent tens and even hundreds of hours playing as, has been given one of the most undignified send-offs he could have possibly gotten. These new people have taken a shit on Rocksteady's legacy. This is a slap in the face to the gamers who loved this universe, it's a slap in the face to the masterful legacy of the Arkham franchise, it's a slap in the face to the character of Batman, and it's also a slap in the face to the legacy of Kevin Conroy. Warner Bros and Rocksteady, you should be absolutely ashamed of yourselves. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon right next to it, because I'm not done yet. There's still more I've got to say about this game, and believe me, I could talk for hours about how much of a mistake this game was, and not just with its story, but also with its generic loot and shooter gameplay and its graphics, which look very outdated when compared to even Arkham City, let alone Arkham Knight. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell right next to it, and comment below with your thoughts on the efforts of the new Rocksteady management, because people gave this game a chance when they heard Rocksteady were behind it, but as more and more of the same looking gameplay released, practically everyone came to the conclusion that Rocksteady have undone all the goodwill that they had accumulated. And it's technically not even the original Rocksteady writers and heads anymore, they're the activist kind, and in one game, they have undone all the potential that the Arkhamverse had for storytelling and future gaming opportunities. And with Warner Bros. Games refusing to give out review codes to critics, that just proves that even they knew this game was dead on arrival and was going to piss people off. But yeah, sure thing, David Zaslav. Go ahead and continue to make more live service games. You're a damn fool if you think they are going to perform any better than this one. I can't believe it took them 9 years to make this game when it took them 6 years to make the 3 Arkham games combined. This is a tragic end to what used to be my favorite game developer. What a disappointment.